what's up, everybody? JayC here, and welcome to a live stream, a Tuesday night live stream. Me and Salome are here, and I thought for tonight we'd take a look at the Haslab Galactus. I'd share my thoughts on it, and then maybe also talk a little bit about the new Black Adam movie and just what's going on with DC, which we'll tackle towards the end of the live stream, just in case there are those who haven't seen the movie and don't want to be spoiled. But, and then who knows what else will come. Oh, Solomon's knocking over my drink. Well, who knows what else will come up tonight. So, let us see who is in the house tonight. I see Everett is in the house tonight. Everett, I see, has been sharing his thoughts on the She-Hulk series, which apparently he did not like. Mr. B is in the house. Thousand Wolves. Blake. Lord Venger's in the house. What's up? Paul's in the house. What's up? Henry G. Michael's in the house. 3M. Jason. Julio. Horn Viper's in the house. DB is driving to work. Don't get in an accident, man. Yep. Galactus is all set up behind me, so I'm actually going to go over there and take a closer look at him. I was originally going to bring him over here, and we'll go into it more, but it's too much of a pain to move him. So I've got a camera. We're gonna walk over to Galactus. Mr. iPhone, what's up? So I saw you guys chatting about Lord Venger says no Black Adam spoilers. We'll wait till we get to the end so you can check out Lord Venger. But I'll tell you, I liked the movie. I was impressed with the movie. I won't say it was like, perfect or anything, but it was definitely one of the better DC movies that I've seen in a long time. I liked it much better than like Aquaman. I did not like the Aquaman movie very much, so I liked it a lot better than Aquaman. Yeah, I probably liked it better than Shazam. I like Shazam for the most part, but I think I like this one better. Definitely liked it better than the Suicide Squad movie. So, I give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't seen it, you probably should go check it out. And then the big news today was that Warner Brothers has announced that James Gunn, who of course started out really in the Marvel universe doing Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, which he's still finishing up on that end, but looks like he's going to be giving his full attention to DC going forward. Of course, he also did the last Suicide Squad movie and the Peacemaker series, but he's essentially been named the DC Studios version of Kevin Feige for all intents and purposes. So he's kind of, that's a big deal for him. He's gonna be getting a lot of control over what happens with DC movies going forward. So I don't know, I'm sure some people think that's a good thing. Others might not as much. I don't know, but it's at least good that they've got somebody in place who I feel like at least has an idea of what they're doing, has a good feel for comic book movies, so that they can start putting together a blueprint and give us an actual direction. As much as I like the Black Adam movie, I felt like even like the mid-credit scene, I felt like was something that they just kind of maybe threw in at the last minute, with no real plans in place for that to go somewhere. So I feel like what's really missing now is they need somebody to really kind of get in there and start developing a real uh, roadmap of where the DC universe is going to go for movies and stuff, instead of just kind of being all over the place, which is what it feels like it's been ever since, you know, they kind of parted ways with Snyder. Corn Viper says, anyone get the new McFarlane Dragon? Well, they just showed one today, but that hasn't been released, so I'm not sure which dragon you're referring to. But yeah, they did show a new dragon, and then there was a listing for they're going to be doing at least one of the dragons from the Game of Thrones House of Dragons series. So um, Blake says signed up last year on the forums. Can I post images and drawings, etc.? Is there a forum for that kind of stuff? Thing like artwork. You're talking about artwork. We have like a general section, so if you're a registered member on the forums, you can certainly share that. We don't have like a dedicated section for like artwork, like drawings, if that's what you mean. We have toy photography, we have collection, like if you want to post pictures of your collections, we have sections for that. But being we're, you know, a toy action figure site, I don't have it necessarily a dedicated spot for artwork, but there's a general section where you could post that if you wanted to share that kind of thing. I didn't know you were an artist. Yeah, Vanguard. There is definitely a section for, you know, if you want to post pictures of your collection, if that's what you're talking about. We definitely, and I'll even, you know, anyone who wants to show off their collection, like their rooms with their collections and stuff, and they take pictures and they go over to that section on the TNI message boards. We'll spotlight that in like a segment on the main site. 3M says, I wish the McFarlane Dragons were action figures and not statues. They have a little articulation, don't they? I mean, I get what you mean, but they're not 100% statues, I don't think. Though I honestly don't know. I've never actually bought any of their dragon figures, so. Uh, PC Glass says, no Galactus Haslab display is complete without a Marvel Select watcher. Well, I definitely got my watcher up there. Going Viper. Yeah, I reported a week or two ago about the Power Rangers Street Fighter or not Street Fighter. Well, there's that too, but the Cobra Kai Power Rangers collab. So we got our first look at those today. I, I like Cobra Kai. I think it's a pretty good series, but I've not really been interested in any of the action figures based on that series. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess Sony's really trying to push it, but Everett. Yeah, there's a general section where you can put. I mean, not you can't actually upload a video, but like if you have a YouTube channel, you can post like links to your YouTube channel. What's up, Double Trail? Cobra Kai Power Ranger figures are terrible. I mean, they're just repaints, right? With different heads. I mean, they're the same Power Ranger figures, only with different head sculpts. And then like they threw up the Miyagi Do logos on the backs. and then the Cobra Kai putty face figure. So I mean, they're easy reissue figures basically. But I guess if you're like a really huge Cobra Kai fan, maybe that's something that would appeal to you. I don't know. They're Target exclusive, so I mean, Target's the only place that's going to carry them. So, all right. So, has everybody who backed the Haslab Galactus, have you gotten your Galactus yet? Has it arrived? So mine arrived last week, and they actually like I waited around like, well, I didn't really wait around. I was here all day, and like it says like you have to wait for or you have to sign for it. So like I'm sitting around waiting, and it came. I think it was on Saturday that it arrived. So I'm like I'm waiting around, and then my wife, who was getting ready to leave the house, she yells down and says, I think your Galactus has arrived. And I'm like, what? Nobody rang the doorbell or anything. And so, like, I mean, it didn't bother me. I requiring the signature is a pain in the butt, but like they just totally blew off the signature and left it on my front doorstep. So we're moving over to the portable cam. Can you guys still hear? I just want to make sure. Can you guys still hear me? Prairie PX says he hasn't gotten a shipping notice. All right, so let's walk over here. So, first thing you'll probably notice is I've got him displayed pretty high up here. He's on top. He's on the shelf that I've set up on top of the X-Men video game. So, just to note, and the reason why I didn't pull him down here is I've got this wire so that it's wrapped around the figure and then attached to a nail up in the ceiling. So if he were to fall forward, if he falls backward, it's not really a big deal because he'd just fall against the back there. But if he fell forward, that could be devastating. If he fell forward from this distance, the figure might break. If Salome was down there and it fell on her, it'd probably kill her. So I put this wire in place so that if he falls forward by chance, then he shouldn't fall to the ground. The wire should catch him, and he'll just kind of hang there. Now, the figures will get knocked over, and they'll fall to the ground, but I'm not that concerned about them. So I've got my Heralds and the Watcher. This is the original Terrax figure, the Build-A-Figure. I didn't get that 2-pack. And then my Fire Lord. I like the Fire Lord, but man, these joints are very gummy. The Galactus figure itself is really nice. I thought Hasbro did a really good job with the Galactus. Oh, and by the way, I can't actually, while I'm over here, I can't see your comment, so just know that I can't actually see your comments while I'm over here, so I'm not ignoring you if you're asking questions or anything. But anyway, the Galactus figure I think looks really good. No problems with it. Actually has pretty good balance. I mean, it's a little, you have to really get the feet planted it can be a little top heavy, but for the most part, for a figure this size, I haven't had any issues keeping him standing. My complaints come with primarily the Silver Surfer figure, which is, I believe, just the exact same figure that we got from Walgreens. And like the Walgreens one, he doesn't stay on his surfboard worth a crap. So they only gave you one peg, which is a pain. I've actually had to use some sticky tape just to keep him on the surfboard. So just note that. And then the Nova figure, I've got a little bit of marbleization going on the body, but that's not too bad. But the thing that really annoys me is these effect pieces, they show it in the hands like you see here, but they really didn't make it so you could clamp those pieces onto his hands so that those would stay firmly attached to his hands. So you have to kind of, move the fingers around and kind of get them in positions where they kind of keep it in place. But like if you start moving this at all, you can almost guarantee that these two things are going to fall out of Galactus's hand. So, and the ankles on my Silver Surfer are really loose, so he falls off really, really easy. The ankles on my Morg, while this is a really great looking figure, the Morg ankles are pretty loose on mine. So this figure has a tendency to fall forward. It's a bit top heavy. So that's why I have the axe like this. So it's almost acting as like a crutch so he doesn't fall forward. So that's a little annoying. So the Galactus is great. I have a few minor, complaints about the add-on figures and stuff. My biggest complaint is they should have actually made these pieces so they actually clamped around the side of the hands of Galactus so that they wouldn't fall off. But otherwise, I think this came out great. And again, the Galactus itself, I think is fantastic. Chris Allen. The knees on Galactus are yeah, I've had no problem with like things like the knees. Um, the ankles on Galactus are nice and tight. So Galactus I have really had absolutely no real problems with whatsoever. It's only with the loose ankles on the Morg, loose ankles on the Silver Surfer, the fact those effect pieces don't stay more firmly attached to Galactus's hands. Those are the things where like I have some nitpicks about. But as far as Galactus itself goes, I think Hasbro did a really good job. I didn't really have any issues with my Sentinel either, but I feel like um, Galactus probably is even better than the Sentinel. Michael, yes, Morg was at least for a time a herald of Galactus. Jerry says, missed the Surfer Walgreens one. I mean, the Walgreens one, just like this one. I mean, the figure itself isn't bad. I know some people wanted Hasbro to give us like a new pinless Silver Surfer figure, but the issue is that they only put one peg on the surfboard, and it really needs two to really get so the figure will stay on the surfboard better. Again, I have some sticky tape that I put on there under the other foot to secure it, to better secure it, because it was like near impossible to get the figure up there in his hand and to stay on the surfboard with just the one peg. So it would have been nice if they had added a second peg on the figure on the surfboard for the figure. And then it didn't help that the ankle joints on at least on my surfer, were really loose. So he would, even if like attached, he still has this tendency to just kind of fall forward on the surfboard. Switchback, what do you mean? Yeah, the Mike like when I stepped over there, I probably sounded far away, but being back here, you guys should be able to hear me with no problem. Hasbroing again. I'm about to make the Vulcan figure into Silver Surfer. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was a cost cutting. I mean, they just reissued the Walgreens figure, so that added little expense to the Galactus. I'm sure that was the reasoning. Yeah, it would have been nice if we'd gotten a brand new sculpted Silver Surfer with the pinless technology. Sure, but I have no doubt that the Surfer was just an add-in reissue that they could do that really didn't add a huge amount to the overall cost of that project. So from that standpoint, I understand. But I mean, frankly, even with the original Walgreens figure, they should have had 2 pegs on that surfboard. I don't know why they only did 1. Bird Box, it says, when I stepped away, I sounded amazing. Well, it's the same mic. I don't know why. So when I was over there, I was farther away from the mic. But that's weird. Let me try something. How about that? Is that better? Double trouble. Well, Vulcan is not Silver Surfer. Vulcan is the pinless body, which I think people would like Hasbro to use for a new Silver Surfer, but they have not yet done so. All right, cool. That's weird though that I was louder farther away from the mic, but hopefully that fixes it all for you guys. Uh, yes, I went on. I'm not a huge fan of Century, but I did go on and get him off Walgreens today. I haven't checked see if did he sell out or is he still available. He's still available. So if you guys need the Century figure, the Walgreens exclusive Century, it's available on the Walgreens website. I'm sure they could use the Vulcan body for a human version of Norrin Rad or just a regular Silver Surfer. I don't see them doing a human Norrin Rad, but anyway. So overall, I give the Haslab Galactus a thumbs up. No real regrets in spending the money on it. It will make a really nice display piece. Um, I did struggle, like I didn't know where I was gonna put it. I thought about putting it. I thought about putting it over here. So this is where I keep my Sentinel in the curio cabinet. And I thought about maybe putting Galactus over here, but I didn't want to have to move all these figures. I would have had to find a place for all these. So, yeah, there's Sentry. It's still available. But so that's where I was thinking about it. But I like it. I like it back here. I was but I had to add the wire as an extra security precaution because, you know, I just if that thing fell off of that high, I mean, putting it up on a high shelf is always dangerous with a big figure like that. Do I like Galactus better than the Sentinel? That's a tough question. I mean, they're both solid figures. Galactus is probably maybe just a hair bit better made as far as like the joints and stuff. But for me, it's more about which character do I like better? Do I like Galactus or do I like the Sentinel? I feel like you can do more with the Sentinel. Fighting your X-Men and stuff. Galactus is so big and so like the character is so big and so powerful. It's like having your figures, your Fantastic Four or whoever, like trying to fight Galactus is kind of pointless, So I feel like you can do more with the Sentinel than you can with Galactus, but I think both figures are really good figures. And as I've said before, as far as future Haslabs go, I think the bigger figure route is much better than a vehicle, but the eyes are supposed to light up, so that sounds like either there's a connection problem. Check your batteries if you're not getting any lights, or check your where the head connects into the neck. But definitely the eyes are supposed to light up. Jerry says, thought the Last Century still looks okay. I don't have that one. The Last Century figure I got was the Toy Biz one, which is not a good looking figure. So that's why I went on and decided to get this one. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the character himself, I decided to go on and pick this one up. But I don't have the previous Century that Hasbro did. Horn Viper, how do people display figures in earthquake sense? I don't know. California had an earthquake today, 5.5, so. Jerry says, like both, I can miss any Haslab except these two. Dumas, Fing Fang Foom. Yeah, I feel like that would be a good choice for next year's Haslab. If they did a Fing Fang Foom that was like bigger than the previous one that they did, I feel like that would probably be pretty popular. It's hard, what character. I would love a good Celestial, like the red Celestial. I think that would be a cool figure, but I don't know. I hear a lot of people, they're like, I don't really know much about the Celestials. And I'm like, yeah, so I don't know. That might not be as appealing to people, but I could definitely go for a Celestial. I could definitely go for Fing Fang Foom. I wouldn't even mind if like Hasbro did like not like the super giant characters, but characters that are probably should be bigger than 12 inches, but maybe not like a Kree Sentry. Like the Build-A-Figure that they did, I didn't think was very good. So like I wouldn't mind seeing like a Kree Sentry, or even something like Onslaught, like a bigger Onslaught than the Build-A-Figure that we got. That would be cool to me. Another idea which I don't see them doing, but like if they did a blob figure, obviously we've got the deluxe blob figure coming, so they're not going to give us one through Haslab. But if they did a blob figure that was maybe a little bit bigger or at least wider than the Build-A-Figure, and then did something like, and I don't even know if this is possible, but if they did something where like the stomach, you could punch into the stomach, like so it's like a squeezy kind of rubber type material. I don't know what it's called, but like that material where you can kind of squeeze it and then it goes back into its original form. So if they made like the stomach area out of something like that, so like you could have your figures punch into it and like mimic his powers, that to me would be like a really cool figure. It wouldn't be like, you know, I wouldn't expect it to cost $300 or $400, but I feel like, you know, not every Haslab has to be, you know, that expensive. It doesn't have to be the super giant mega figure necessarily. Um, so that's where I feel like maybe they should go, the direction they should maybe think about going for future HasLabs is giving us things that are a little more complex, maybe a little bit bigger than the normal, you know, 12-inch Build-A-Figure or what have you, and could do it up nice like through the HasLab. Would be more expensive than a $30 figure, granted, but not as expensive as a $350 figure. Arthur, yeah, that would be cool stretch goal. Fing Fang Foom with a Mandarin, like a comic book based Mandarin. I mean, we got the one, right? Or no, I guess we haven't gotten. I lose track. Have we gotten a recent? Yeah, I guess we haven't. Yeah, so Toy Biz did a pretty good Mandarin back in the day, but Sean says, a diorama like a Danger Room set. I could, that would be interesting. I'm just not sure how well they could do it. Like, you know, I know like Diamond Select Toys did those diorama pieces with the Danger Room with their X-Men Select figures. But I feel like it would need for Hasbro to do something like that through HasLab, it would need to be more elaborate than that. So I don't know. Um, I don't know how well easily you could engineer something like that and have it be remotely affordable. Lee says we need a big. Well, they could definitely do a saber tooth in the regular line, like a correct size saber tooth. I mean, the last saber tooth they did was small, but I mean, you know, if you look at how he appeared in the Iron Fist comic, that's actually, you know, pretty appropriate size for how they originally drew him. But definitely we could do, you know, they could do a larger saber tooth, I think. And I think I want to say they even said in one of the live streams that we probably would get another saber tooth down the road that was larger size. Jerry says Ghostbuster headquarters for the win. An Asteroid M playset. Yeah, that would be pretty difficult to do. I mean, like, the first playset I want to see Hasbro do as a HasLab is a Star Wars Death Star playset. I want to see them do a Death Star, and then if they can pull that off, then I might have more confidence that they could do something like a Danger Room or something like that. But I want to see, you know, the first playset Hasbro should do as a HasLab is the Star Wars Death Star for Star Wars, and I feel like that would get, if they did it good, if they really made it look good and such, that would get funded even if it was on the more expensive side. I know people get hung up on the prices, but I feel like people will pay for something like that if it's done good. So um Death Star playset is the first playset I want to see Hasbro do. For a HasLab, and then if they pull that off, if they can pull that off and everything, then, you know, let's talk X-Men Danger Room, or even hell, why stop with just the Danger Room? Give us the entire X-Men mansion, right? Like, you know, and you could do it in section pieces and have the Danger Room part of it, but, you know, give us the entire X mansion. Um, that would be cool. Power Turtles says he's burned out on Ghostbusters. They need to start focusing on animated real Ghostbusters. Well, I mean, Hasbro's not really doing anything with Ghostbusters right now, so I think maybe once they get closer to the new movie, but Ghostbusters seems to be on the back burner for Hasbro right now. The says Cantina first. Well, I certainly would rather see a Death Star playset before Cantina, but Cantina I could maybe go for. If they did a good Cantina playset, I could maybe, that would be interesting to me. But I one of my favorite original Star Wars toys was the Kenner Cantina playset with the doors that had the rubber bands, which always fell off. You know, the rubber band would always break or fly off. But I always liked that playset. Double Trouble, you're 100% right, man. Space, I think space is a bigger issue for more collectors than money. Um, I, people harp on the price, but I think what ends up holding a lot of people back on the larger items is space. That I totally agree with you with. I know it definitely has me think twice. Um, that Battle Cat figure from Mondo went up for pre-order today, and I'm still debating on whether I want to get that or not because I just don't know if I have the space. I think I have a place picked out for my Thunder Tank when it arrives. So I have a Batmobile, a Justice League Batmobile there right now, but I think that's where I'm going to end up putting my Thunder Tank. I've got a lot of Batman stuff on display around here, so I feel like I could probably give up the space. I'll have to probably, put that away, the Batmobile away somewhere, but I think that's where I'm putting my Thunder Tank when it arrives. And I don't know, like, it not only space, but like I don't know how it is with you guys, but like whenever I start trying to put new stuff up on a shelf or something, it's not just like, okay, let me just put the figure it on the shelf because like for me, it's like playing Jenga where like you've got to put because there's so many figures and stuff already, and it's like if you make one wrong move, like you knock over all the figures on a shelf. I mean, it becomes this hassle where every time you want to put new stuff out, like not only do you have to find the space, but then you have to kind of work it in with all the other stuff. And then you end up, like I said, you end up knocking stuff over or stuff falls over. And then you end up to like at the when all is said and done, you're like so frustrated because like what should have been like a 3-minute process of just putting a new figure on the shelf has turned into like a 40-minute issue as you've had to pick up all your figures and re-stand them on the shelf. Lee says, what about Haslab Weapon X Lab and Water Tank? That would be... I feel like, I mean, a lot would depend on the price, but I feel like that they would have to keep the price pretty low on something like that. I don't think that would have a wide enough appeal. That's kind of like the Haslab Ghost Rider. You know, if that price got up there at all on something like that, I don't think it would get enough support to get backed. It would be cool. Yeah, it's a cool idea. And if they could do it where they keep the price down, then they might have something. But I feel like that's not going to have a wide enough appeal, because I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do with it other than put your Weapon X Wolverine figure in there and a few others. But it's not like you can put a ton of figures in something like that. So that would definitely be kind of a hard sell. Yep. Salome, I don't know if you guys saw the picture I posted. I used it in the thumbnail just because I didn't have anything else to use tonight. But I was doing a photo shoot for the new Kamakura G.I. Joe Classified figure, and Salome was right there. As soon as I opened it up and pulled out the accessory, Salome was right there and like trying to steal accessories from that figure. Paul says, "That's your that's your Haslab automated figure picker upper and stander." Yeah, if somebody can invent something that could just like stand your action figures for you, and like if they fall down, like it automatically goes and picks it up and puts it back up. Yeah, that would that would be worth spending some money for. I can tell you that. Lee. Well, I mean, there's no set rule that says it has to be any price. I think my guess is for Hasbro, the general rule is it's got to be something that they can't release at retail, that they can't interest a Walmart or a Target in carrying. So, and usually that tends to be bigger, more expensive items. So that's, I think, why generally the HasLab stuff is expensive and big. But I think more of the general rule is it's something that they can't get released at regular retail or any retail maybe. Um, and so because if they could get Walmart and Target to carry any of these things, they would sell a hell of a lot more than what they do through HasLab. So, if Walmart and Target were willing to sell Galactus here and carry it in all their stores, Hasbro would easily make a ton more money because they would just be producing and selling a lot more than what they would through HasLab. So I think that's the general rule of thumb to think about. Is it something that they could get out at retail? And if not, then it probably has a shot that maybe it could end up in as a future crowdsourcing item. Corn Viper, I assume you're talking about the Street Fighter figure. I don't know. We just got the first official images of them today, so hopefully they will be going up for pre-order soon. But I have not, I don't know. They're kind of being slow on those. I mean, they're kind of new to the action figure game. So, their first action figure line was those Universal Monster ones. So that might be one of the things that's kind of slowing them down, but they look good. I mean, if you saw those new images today for the Street Fighter figures, they definitely look good. Timothy says, plus we would get Galactus for 175 on clearance. Well, you're right. It's possible that if it was sold at general retail, eventually it could go on clearance. But the fact is that if Walmart and Target had carried Galactus, it would have likely been cheaper because, again, Hasbro would have been producing a lot more of them. And the more a company can produce of something, the cheaper it is for them to make it. The smaller, that's a key rule to remember about the toy industry. Factories charge the toy companies more money when the production runs are smaller. So when they do, that's one of the reasons why the HasLabs cost more, is because they're doing small production runs. A 9,000, like 5,000 and 9,000, like the Eternia, like if all Mattel sold was 5,000 of those Eternia playsets, that would be a tremendously small production run of an item for a company like Mattel. They're used to making stuff in like 200,000 or even more. So that's, when guys start like figuring out these costs and stuff, trying to break down the cost of these items, that's one of the things that I think they forget about, is that when they make these in smaller numbers for the collector, then it's going to be more expensive. So had Target and Walmart been willing to pick up the Galactus or the Sentinel and sell it in their stores, Hasbro would have made a lot more of them than what they did for HasLab, and therefore their costs would have been lowered at the factory, and it would have probably been cheaper for us to buy. And then, of course, if they didn't sell, that's not really good for the overall healthiness of the line, but likely they would end up going on clearance, as a lot of those larger items do, which is why it's why you don't see Walmart and Target wanting to carry something huge like the Galactus, because oftentimes those big giant items do end up going on clearance. Dumas, Battle Cat is available until November 1st, so you've got until next week. If you get paid on Friday, then you should be good. You can pre-order them this weekend. Ben from the bunker, do I think makes sense for Haslab to limit the amount people can buy? It's available to everyone, therefore can't really be. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not sure why. Like Mattel, you'll notice Mattel didn't do that. There was no limit on how many Eternia playsets you could buy. I don't know why Hasbro puts limits on their Haslabs. Why they say only you can buy only 5. Because you're right, even if somebody is buying it to resell it at a higher cost after the Haslab is ended, which people do that all the time, that's not affecting your ability to be able to buy it at the time that the Haslab campaign is going. So if somebody came along and bought 50 Ghost Rider cars in hopes that they could resell that at a profit at a later time, you still could go and pay the cost of the Ghost Rider without any issue. And in fact, if somebody's out there buying 50 Ghost Riders, that's only helping the campaign get to its minimum goal number, so that if that's something you want and you wanted to see it backed, it's only helping you. So I don't know why they do that. I feel like it's possible because, and this is only based on some rumblings I've heard from people kind of associated with this type of thing, is I guess as Hasbro was trying to negotiate with retailers outside of the United States to carry these Haslabs, I guess there was this idea that I guess those places didn't want the competition from, say a Big Bad Toy Store or something. So I guess it was their way of keeping the only official retailers carrying it, that they've negotiated with, because, keep in mind that usually with these Haslabs that they go and they work with retailers, where Haslab is not available or where Hasbro Pulse is not available, they negotiate with certain retailers to carry the item, assuming it gets funded, so that people in those areas can buy it. So the only remote reason I can think that they put that limit on there is because they don't want like a bunch of retailers out there buying up a bunch of them to resell them later, and then competing with those ones that they've negotiated with to carry it in the locations where Hasbro Pulse is not available. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me though. I definitely feel like there were probably a lot of resellers who were buying up that Eternia playset in that first week. That's probably the biggest reason why you're seeing a slowdown in the backer count now that the early bird figure is no longer available, because I think all the resellers bought up as many as they thought they could resell in that first week, because they wanted to make sure that it included the King Grayskull figure. So I feel like probably the demographic that Mattel has lost the most with the King Grayskull no longer being offered is the resellers who have bought as many as they, again, reasonably expect to be able to resell at a later time. I believe for both Hasbro and Mattel, they don't charge you until the end. I don't think they charge you up front. So like if you back the Eternia playset, you could go cancel it now. And that, I mean, to me, that's a good question that I wonder, because, when the Ghost Rider campaign started, there were people going, oh, just go back it now so that we can get to the minimum number. You can cancel later if you don't really want it. But there were all these people like trying to tell people to go back it, even if they didn't want it or whatever, and that they could just cancel it, before the campaign ends. And I didn't think that was a very good idea, but it does bring a good question of what happens if the Haslab campaign reached its 8,000 backers, but then everybody at the end, or a ton of people at the end, decided to cancel and it dropped down below 5,000. Would it then no longer go into production? I guess that's what would happen. But that would kind of suck if you thought it had been, if it had reached its minimum goal and you thought it had been backed, and now all of a sudden, because it dropped down, that was no longer the case. So I feel like that's kind of a loophole that they're going to have to maybe address going forward, because I think that there's too much of a likelihood of that happening. John says Mattel okay, so Mattel waited until it reached its minimum number and then they charged everybody. So that's interesting. But I assume you could still cancel. Like if you decided you want, I'd have to go read the fine print. I forget what it says on the Mattel. Fact. Now I'm curious. So. All right, so first of all, we're at 8,149, so we still got a ways to go until 10,000. It is really slowed down since, that first week. Salome has returned if you didn't hear her. So I think we have to go to when will I be charged? You won't actually be charged unless the campaign reaches its minimum goal of 5,000 backers by 11/9. The pre-order amount will show as pending on your credit card when the campaign succeeds. Your payment will then be processed. If it doesn't succeed, your pre-order will be canceled and the pending charge will disappear. Do you accept returns or cancellations or refunds? You may cancel your pre-order during the campaign period by calling customer service. So after the campaign period ends on 11/9, there will be no refunds or exchanges. So even if they've charged you already, you could still cancel. But until the campaign actually ends. So. But with Hasbro, I don't think they actually charge you until the campaign ends. Even if it reaches its minimum goal before the campaign expires, they don't charge you until it actually ends. Yeah, yeah. So that is a big difference between Mattel and Hasbro. Is Mattel went on and charged everybody once it reached its minimum backer in that first week, and Mattel waits, or at least up until now anyway, has waited until the campaign actually ends before they charge you. I am. It's just how I live my life. I know people will say, well, you don't have to worry about having the money in your account, just, as long as you have it by the time the campaign ends and when they charge you. I'm not going to buy something. I'm not going to pre-order something unless I have the money already allocated. That's just me. So I've never been this huge fan of these people that will tell you to back something even if you don't have the money right now, because you never know what's going to happen. And I don't like committing to something unless I know I have the money in place. So that's just how I handle everything in my life as far as finances go. If I don't have the money of it, if I don't have, and I am not a big fan of payment plans either, to be honest. For something like this, I feel like if you have the $600 to spend on the Eternia playset, and that's something you want, then go for it. But I feel like if you've got to basically go on a payment plan or essentially borrow money to buy this, I feel like maybe that's an indication that maybe you should just hold off on buying something like this. I mean, being that it's not like something crucial to you, that that's just my own personal feeling on these types of things, is like with this type of thing that's not critical, whether if you don't own this, your world's not going to end. It's not like groceries. It's not like a car that you have to get around or things like that. So I feel like if you've got the money to spend on something like this and you want it, then go for it. But I feel like if you're putting yourself in debt, or you don't have the money and you're thinking you'll probably have the money by the time the campaign ends or things like that, my recommendation is just hold off. But again, that's just me. I used to work in the bank. I used to work at a credit union, so I used to work in the finance industry, and I ended up dealing with too many people that would like call up and they would be like, I can't pay my debts because I spent it on Christmas presents or something like that. And to me, if you commit to something, then that should be your priority of, paying that back before you're buying something else. And as far as payment plans go, I mean, again, if you're having to put yourself in debt, I just feel like save your money and, use it for, when you got something that's really crucial to, your livelihood. Don't waste that. And I mean, just when I was younger, I ran up credit card debt. So I'm not saying I've ever, I'm not saying I've always lived by that, but I can tell you that, when you run up a bunch of debt on stuff like this, like Eternia playset, you're probably going to end up feeling like you really shouldn't have spent the money on it at some point. Corn Viper, thankfully I never did debt collections on mortgages, but car loans, things like that, yeah. And definitely I think that's like, as you get older, I think, definitely when I was young, I ran up a lot of credit card debt. It was like, I don't need to worry about it. I'll just put it on the credit card. So I think those are definitely things, as you get older, you kind of start to realize the folly of. All right, well, let's see. It's 8 o'clock. Man, time flies. So I did want to talk. Well, let me ask you guys, like, how many of you guys have seen the Black Adam movie already? Or let me rephrase it. How many of you have not seen the Black Adam movie but want to see the Black Adam movie? Plan to see the Black Adam movie? I'm just trying to gauge. Maybe it should hold off before we start talking Black Adam spoilers. I know Lord Venger. Blake, what do I know about Hasbro layoffs? I saw a GI Joe some GI Joe guys mentioned something about they had heard some people at Hasbro being laid off, but I've seen nothing in the headlines that suggests that major layoffs at Hasbro have started to happen as of yet. But I certainly think it's possible, as they try and cut their costs. You know, that is definitely something I think could happen. But have major layoffs at Hasbro really started to happen? If they have, they've kept it pretty well secret, because that's usually something that, like, you know, the Wall Street Journal or CNBC or such would report on, if or even like the local you know, news organizations in Rhode Island where Hasbro's headquartered. If they start laying off people, that's usually something that's covered pretty closely. And have not seen anything about major layoffs at Hasbro at this time. So nice. The Cobra Sting. That was one of my favorite vehicles. I didn't get the. I already have, like, you know, they did a Cobra Stinger a few years ago, so I already have that one, or I did. I think I maybe sold it here recently, but Cobra Stinger is definitely one of my favorite Cobra vehicles. All right, I think we'll hold off on talking Black Adam spoilers, since it's already after 8 anyway. So maybe the next live stream. I don't know if I'm going to do a live stream on Thursday, because that's the 10/24 Hasbro thing, and I don't know how late that's going to go. It starts at 5, but I don't know if it's only going to be an hour or 2 hours. They've got enough brands that they've said that they're going to show new stuff for. I'm assuming they're probably just going to show one new item per brand, and then fill it in with a lot of fluff stuff that most of us don't really care about. But but I don't know if it's going to be 1 hour or 2 hours. So I don't know if I'm going to do a live stream on Sunday or not, or on Thursday or not, like usual. So a little bit up in the air. If I don't do a live stream on Thursday, I might try and I want to do a review of the Marvel vs. Capcom arcade 1-up machine back there. So if I don't get a live stream up, if I don't do a live stream on Thursday, I'll probably try and get a review of that up. Which I will tell you, overall, just quick review on that. It's not bad, but definitely it's disappointing that Arcade 1-up did not have the online feature ready to go for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. No word yet from them on when that will be available. So if you are thinking about getting the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade 1-up machine, and you're getting it for online play, you might want to hold off. I mean, it should come eventually. So but right now it's not available, so just know that. Michael, no, MCM is this weekend. So the Hasbro thing is Thursday night, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Though I don't know how much new stuff we're gonna see, but the MCM convention is this weekend, so they're kind of kicking things off with the live stream on Thursday evening. Eric, oh, you haven't seen the so they announced these. Jada Toys is who's doing these. They're 6-inch figures. They announced them before San Diego Comic-Con, and they had them on display at San Diego. But this is the first wave. These are some shots from San Diego. These were on display. So, yeah, I think they look pretty good. I'm definitely gonna check them out when they get released. They have not gone up for pre-order yet. I don't know when they're gonna go up for pre-order. I'm thinking probably soon. This image they just released today, so hopefully they will be going up for pre-order soon. But you know, these should be much more affordable than like Storm Collectibles stuff. They're probably not quite as nice as Storm Collectibles, but they also should be much cheaper. Lord Vengar. It's playing on IMAX screens. I didn't watch it on IMAX. I watched it on a regular screen, but I believe it is playing on. I mean, it wasn't filmed in IMAX, I don't think, but it is playing on IMAX screens. Yeah, and the Playmates. I have the Chun-Li one, which is actually not a bad figure. I thought actually Playmates did a really good job with their Street Fighter figures. But the problem with the Playmates ones is there's only going to be 4 figures because it's not, they don't have the Street Fighter license. They just had this special agreement to do these 2-packs with the turtles. So, there's not much longevity with the Playmates toys ones. Even though, again, I thought Playmates actually did a pretty good job with their Street Fighter figures. But that's why I'm definitely kind of interested to see what Jada Toys is going to do. Hopefully the Jada Toys line, hopefully they'll be able to get a lot of characters out in it, when all is said and done. Michael, it is 1027 is a Hasbro live stream. Technically, it's supposed to only be for premium members, which means you got to pay the $50. If it goes like past ones that they've done that with, then it's just a link. They make the link private so that you can't search for it. But anybody who has the link can watch it. They don't really have any way of verifying if you're an actual premium member or not if you have the link. So usually the link gets out there. But yes, it is a live stream, and technically it is supposed to be only for premium members. I will tell you, whatever is revealed, we'll have coverage of it up on the site. So even if you can't watch the live stream, you should still be able to find out what new stuff is revealed during it. Rashid, yeah, welcome, man. I, don't get me started on premium Hasbro's premium. Kyle says not if they're only. Well, I mean, it will probably. Yeah, I mean, figures three a wave, but if they did like 4 waves a year, that's still that's not too bad. Blake, always appreciate, man. Thanks for the live stream. Great to hear from everyone. Yeah, always, man. Much appreciated. Is that so I can pay Hasbro for premium membership? Yeah, for me, I mean, to be absolutely, I mean, it's not about the $50 per se. It's just the principle of it. I will never pay Hasbro $50 so that I can see, get a better chance to be able to buy their products or get to see products that they want me to buy. If I said this many, many times, if you truly think paying $50 is worth the free shipping, if you really are buying that much stuff from Hasbro Pulse and you find the value of paying $50 for the free shipping, I think that's fine. But that's not what Hasbro tries to, Hasbro markets these things like, oh, well, sign up for premium so you can watch our live stream, or sign up for premium so you can get access to these products first. And I think that is absolutely ridiculous. But I've rambled enough in the past about that, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. The Chester, yeah, they did the, I didn't buy them, but they did those cereal mascots, the Frankenberry and the Count Chocula. So the Chester Cheetah, that's pretty cool. And they're doing Mega Man 2. I've really never been into Mega Man, but I know there are definitely people who are. So they're doing 6-inch Mega Man figures, and they're doing the Street Fighter figures. They're doing the Chester Cheetah. We're talking about Jada Toys. So I mean, they announced a number of new figure licenses at San Diego, and I've not bought any of their Universal Monster figures, but I haven't really heard anything bad about them. So Kyle says free shipping pays for itself pretty quick. My thing about that is I don't buy enough from Hasbro Pulse. The only time I ever buy anything from Hasbro Pulse if it's Hasbro Pulse exclusive. So I'd much rather go buy from a Big Bad Toy Store or Entertainment Earth or what have you, over buying from Hasbro Pulse. And Hasbro Pulse usually is the last to ship something out, and that's because they are essentially competing with the retailers when they are selling their own product. So I mean, there's all kinds of problems I have with that kind of thing. Now Hasbro's not the only one that started selling directly, so Hasbro's not alone in that. But I just, the whole premium thing is just the final straw to me. But like I said, if you do really buy enough from Hasbro Pulse, for the shipping, but Big Bad Toy Store, you don't pay anything, and you can do pile of loot shipping for $4. Entertainment Earth provides free shipping if you spend more than $39. I mean, so to me, just free shipping is not that valuable of a thing. There's plenty of ways to get, Amazon Prime, which I get a lot more benefits for than just free shipping, but free shipping is definitely much more, where I buy a lot more than just action figures from Amazon. That's worth paying for the free shipping, but I just don't see it with Hasbro Pulse. But again, if you truly feel that that's worth paying for, that I have no problem with. It's just when they start using the tactics of, oh, well, if you want to make sure you can buy this product from us, then get a premium membership so that you can have first dibs, because it'll be sold out by the time it becomes available for everyone else. I mean, that's essentially saying, I want you to pay me an extra $50 so that you can have a shot at buying my products. And I think that's crazy. Or I want you to pay $50 so that you can watch a live stream where we promote the selling of products that we want you to buy. We want you to pay $50 so that you can watch that. Again, that's just ridiculous. All right, so I think we're going to call it a night tonight, but definitely thumbs up to Hasbro on the Galactus. Galactus himself is awesome. I definitely, I have no buyer's remorse for Galactus, just like I did with the Sentinel. So hopefully, Hasbro next year for their Marvel Legends Haslab will be something that we all are more interested in, and we'll have a better outcome than the Ghost Rider. So, but Galactus, thumbs up. Black Adam, thumbs up. Things are kind of starting to look up for the DC universe as far as movies go. So, hopefully good things will be coming. And we'll call it a night. As always, guys, thanks for coming in tonight, chatting with me, sharing your thoughts. Until next time, be safe out there, and I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification to alert it every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.